and welcome to the first ever literary house share, which is the ultimate lockdown party. Or that's what I'm telling myself. I'm going to be quizzing some of your favourite authors about their domestic habits, their previous house share nightmares, and also how they put houses and cohabiting experiences into their books. Plus, we're going to be playing the cellar game, where each of our guests picks 3 housemates, and you have to guess which one they're going to want to be with in the kitchen and in the bedroom, and which one they're going to want to lock in the cellar. So I am the author of this book. There we go, the house share, and that is why I've decided to try doing this, because it's all about some very scary people that you really wouldn't want to be locked down with, and I thought it'd be fun to find out what the nightmare lockdown would be for some of my favourite writers. And the first writer that we're going to have today, hide mine, will be the amazing Rowan Coleman, aka Bella Ellis, who is the author of the Bronte mysteries. Hello, Rowan.
Hello, Kate.
What should I call you, Rowan or Bella? I don't really know.
Either. I'll answer to both. So
you'll answer to both. That's very good. Right. So now, as this is the first time I've ever done this, I'm going to experiment with things like captions and things like that. So hopefully people can actually see that as we speak. So, as I say, Bella stroke Rowan writes the most amazing Bronte mysteries, and the first one, The Vanished Bride, has just gone into paperback with the most amazing cover. Is that right, or is it just ebook so far?
Not quite in paperback. It's an ebook at the moment, and it's only 99p. It's a bargain.
It is. It is a bargain. It's got the most gorgeous cover. I'm going to see if I can get it up now. Oh no, maybe not. Hang on. This is where I get my technical thing. It is, I can see the cover now. It's absolutely beautiful. I have major cover envy, and it's also a fantastic book inside. So I thoroughly recommend it. Now, what we're going to do, first of all, is show the different potential housemates, and people should guess as we look at them who we've asked each of our guests to decide on whether they want one of these people in the kitchen cooking for them, in the bedroom, up to you what you want to, how you want to interpret that, and then finally the person you want to lock in the cellar. They've had complete carte blanche on what to choose. The only thing has been no politicians, because I think we've got enough of those at the moment. So the ones we have at the moment from Bella stroke Rowan are these 3. We have got well, would you like to tell us who they are, but not which rooms you're going to put them in?
So my 3 characters that I've chosen are Keanu Reeves, Emily Bronte, and Tarka the Otter.
Okay, and what we have here is, I can't swear that this picture that I got here is actually definitely Tarka the Otter, but it is an otter. Other otters are available. And I think I've got Emily up okay, although there's lots of different pictures. And let's face it, how many people know exactly what she looks like? You're the expert on this stuff, Bella. Rowan.
Oh, there's a lot of debate over what Emily looks like. Some people think that the portrait of her that's in the National Portrait Gallery is actually Anne. Some people think that Anne and Emily are mixed up in the gun group, and there are quite a few alleged Bronte photos floating around, which some people think could be them, and some people think cannot be them. So we don't definitively know what they look like, but we got a pretty good idea from Brian Wells' paintings, which weren't good, to be honest.
And you've got a pretty good idea yourself. You've probably got one of the best ideas, because you live and breathe this stuff.
I do. I'm a huge Bronte geek, and one of the fun things that I've been able to do with my intense geekery is to write the Bronte mysteries, which imagines that before the Bronte sisters were famous authors, they were amateur sleuths. And so that's in The Vanished Bride. That's the three sisters getting together to solve the case of a missing bride who's disappeared from her bedroom, leaving only large amounts of blood behind.
Yes, and it's a really twisty turny book. I loved it, and although it's set with those historical characters, you've also got a real sense of what they might think and the struggles that they would have been up against as women, and I love that about them. We're going to stick with the idea of sharing a house. Obviously, those guys shared a house. I want to know a little bit, first of all, we're all in lockdown at the moment. What kind of a person are you like? What do you like to share a house with?
Well, I am a very, very, very untidy person, and I'm also not naturally inclined towards housework. So, luckily for me, I'm living with my 4 children and my husband and 2 dogs. And luckily for me, most of my children are quite chaotic and laid back and relaxed about these things as well. But I have to say that during lockdown, I've had to become a much tidier person. So basically, I spend my life loading the dishwasher. Okay, that's basically all I do. Load the dishwasher, feed people, load the dishwasher. That's it now.
Does anyone unload it for you?
No, my family is terribly remiss at dishwasher loading and unloading. Sometimes I can get my teenager to do it if I bribe her, but generally speaking, it's just.
Are you one of those people who's picky about dishwasher loading? So if someone were to offer to do it, would you not care how they did it, or do you have a very particular order?
No, don't care. Just please, somebody load my dishwasher.
While we're on the what I'm calling chore wars theme, is there one that you really cannot bear? So dishwasher you can tolerate, I guess, because it does most of the work for you once it's in there. What's the one job that you really cannot abide?
Oh, I hate cleaning bathrooms, the worst. But I have outsourced that to my teenager for a fee, so she does it for me. But I have to pay her. But that's just like, other people's stuff. No, I'm not into it at all. That's my favourite lockdown chore.
Fair enough. Well, as we've worked out that you are untidy, but the queen of dishwasher loading, only because there's no one else who's willing to do it. Let us return to your choices, your options when it comes to, and this is where I'm going to get them to appear by magic on the screen. Not that you're going to be able to see them, or maybe I won't. So first of all, we wanted to start in the kitchen, which is relevant with what we just said. So which of your 3 housemates would you like to find in your kitchen?
I'm allowed to say now, am I?
You are allowed to say.
So I have Emily Bronte in the kitchen because Emily was pretty good cook. She was housekeeper for her dad, essentially, and she had she was very good at making a cake, very good at making bread. Famously, was told in one of her diary papers, mentions that she was told off by their maid Tabby for not peeling potatoes fast enough. And one of the things that she liked to do while she was making bread or cooking or ironing was to read a book. So that we have a record of her reading a German novel in German whilst baking bread. And I think, she could read me, make me love fresh bread. We could have a chat over a slice of cake, a cup of tea, and that would be lovely. Maybe she would even do the dishwasher. Who knows?
I think her mind would probably be blown by the dishwasher, and maybe she would have written even more kind of stories, which would have been a really good thing, one way or another. What kind of cakes did they eat?
Oh, they had several cakes that they like, but I think one that comes up quite a lot is a Madeira seed cake. So it's poppy seeds in a plain Madeira sponge, and you would drink it with a glass of like sherry or Madeira as well for afternoon tea. It's nice. It is nice. My friends me and it's delicious.
Fantastic. So we're talking about food. When it comes to your own house, so anyone who's ever shared a house, especially with flatmates who aren't members of your family, will know there's this fridge raiding thing that goes on and people's nicking and stuff. What is the one thing that you would raid from a fridge that would not be safe in a communal fridge?
Oh, cheesecake. Yeah. So if there's a cheesecake in a communal fridge, then I would be just having a tiny sliver, tiny, hardly noticeable sliver, but 10 to 20 times a day. So yeah, cheesecake would not be
Gradually be disappearing. Do you do that thing where you I do this sometimes, especially in lockdown, where you get a tiny bit and you allocate your thing and you actually put everything away, you put the knife away in the dishwasher. In fact, that's what I do, but it just keeps calling you.
yes, a tiny bit, and then just a tiny bit more, just a little bit, and then you get a slice, because and then perhaps 2 slices. Yeah, that is a very sweet tooth, and that doesn't seem to be going away in lockdown, unfortunately. So
no, that is definitely not happening to me either. So I think it may be time then to go to I'll let people have a think about what they might want. We've got a few comments here, so in fact, I'm just looking here on talk of dishwashers. Claire has just said that her dishwasher broke down. Look at this. Right, I'll see if I can do this in the 2nd week of lockdown.
Oh, disaster.
How big a nightmare is that? I just, yeah, Claire, you have massive sympathy there. In fact, my sister's freezer broke as well. She went without it for almost 2 weeks, she was telling me yesterday. So, yeah, another one. Mind you, it does mean you've got to eat it all in one go. So just through necessity to avoid food waste, I think that's quite a good excuse to have. So let me have a look now to get a reminder of those pictures that we have of the potential 2 people left, or 2, they are people now. Oh no, one's an animal. Right, let me have a look. Oh, right, so this is where I'm learning that I'm not much of a vision mixer, which is what you do in television, where you're trying to bring things up. There we go. So we have had Emily in the kitchen. Right, so who would you have in your bedroom? Bella Ellis / Rowan Coleman.
Wow, it might surprise you to learn that my bedroom companion is Tarka the otter.
Right, okay. That sounds messy. Sounds a lot messier than Keanu Reeves, but carry on.
Well, when I was a little girl, I remember reading, well, my mum read Ring of Bright Water to me, and also I watched the movie. Do you remember the film? Yeah. Very but it instilled into me a lifelong love of otters, and also I would really love an otter friend, not in a weird way,
no,
in a completely normal human to otter platonic caring way. I would love to have a little otter, and he could sort of come in and out. I live by a river in my imaginary house. He could come in and out, and then perhaps at night time he'd just curl up in his little otter bed, in the corner, making little otter noises. And then when we wake up in the morning, we could go for romps in the river together, having a very idyllic otter life. I mean, that's normal, right?
Yeah, it's completely normal. I thought you were going to say in the kitchen, because I remember in Ring of Bright Water, isn't there that scene where he has this is coming back from a long time ago, complete carnage in the kitchen where he just goes everywhere and knocks everything over.
Yeah. I mean, I have that anyway, because I've got 4 children and 2 dogs, so that's basically my life.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little river dog, and for me to commune with nature, because what I miss very much, most of all in lockdown, is the being able to really get into deep countryside that I love very much, and spend some time, listening to the river and listening to birds and playing with an otter, my friendly otter.
Why not? No, I can relate to that. I'm not sure about the bedroom, maybe the bathroom, but then the cleaning, like we were saying before, might be a bit full on after that.
House trained, it's, you know,
I think they're quite hard to house train. I have to say that, as you know, I have a border terrier, and one of the things about having a border terrier as a dog is that one of the things they're prized for is their otter-shaped head. And if you kind of look at them from the right angle, they do look quite ottery.
yeah.
And they're probably a bit more practical than otters.
Area called and call him Tarka and just pretend.
Tarka. Yes, that would be perhaps Tarka and Dal. That's
Oh,
a whole different thing. Have you ever been to the otter sanctuary at Greek?
yes, I have. And my dream, I love river otters a lot, but my dream is to go to California and see sea otters in real life, holding hands and cuddling babies. That's basically one day.
Yeah, one day when we're free of lockdown. Do they hold hands then, otters? Is that what actually happens?
Otters hold hands or hold paws so that when they're sleeping they don't get separated. So sweet. Surely, I mean, I can't believe you've been on the internet for, I don't know, 20 years and you've never seen a meme of otters holding hands. I'll fix that.
No, okay, we'll sort that out later. Yeah, if I was organised enough, I would sort one out now, but that would probably just break me completely. So, having moved on from the bedroom, let's talk a bit about houses and how you work those into your books, and especially into the Bronte mysteries, because obviously they did share a house, the sisters, and with their dad and with their extremely awkward brother. Tell me a little bit more about it and how you work that into the gorgeous Spanish Bride.
Well, I mean, it's quite easy to imagine a lot of tension building up in that house, particularly if they were sort of confined quarters, if they were on lockdown, which they sometimes were because of weather or illness. It was a very little house. It's different from any pictures you might see of the parsonage today because it was doubled in size after Patrick died. So it was a very small house and it had 6 or 7 people, 8 at one point living in it. I can imagine that tempers will have frayed a little bit, especially when Branwell was, during the later part of his life, drinking a lot, taking a little bit of opium on the side. But on the I think one of the things that really stands out in everything that we know about the sisters and also in the novel is that they really cared for each other deeply. They were a very close-knit family. They loved each other a lot, and as irritated as they got with each other, that never ever changed, which is why it was so sad for Charlotte when she was used to being in this house crammed full of the people that she loved, and they all died within a few months of each other, and she was basically left alone with her father, which was really sad for her to lose all of her siblings. So the atmosphere that I try and create in the parsonage is a small and kind of cozy and warm and intimate. It's a sort of a safe place, and it's a place where they can share their secrets with one another. And I think, you know, when they need to get out, they've got some beautiful countryside, so they go up the moors, bit of freedom.
I was lucky enough to go on a tour with you of the parsonage. It was amazing. But what surprised me more broadly, and it is relevant to the times we're in, was just what a hotbed of sickness the whole of Haworth was. I had never really appreciated it. I always thought, especially when you go there now, it's very she.
Yes, it is. So the average life expectancy in Haworth at the time of the Brontes was 24, which is partly because infant mortality was very, very, very high. And that you can find graves in the graveyard where there were 10 babies to a grave, 10 infants to a grave, and partly because disease was rife. So they didn't have an idea really about lockdown then. They didn't really understand how disease spread in the same way that we do now. So they lived every day with the risk of typhoid or cholera or tuberculosis. And of course, it was tuberculosis that took Anne and Emily's life may have contributed to Branwell's death, although it was probably more to do with his alcoholism. And then Charlotte in the end succumbed to pregnancy complications. So we are, you know, we're lucky in a way in 21st century in that we know what not to do to catch this invisible virus. But in mid 19th century, that it was a risk that everybody took when they stepped outside the door. In their day-to-day life, they never knew, you know, what might happen next, and it was something they lived with all the time.
Was this when they were talking about miasma and all of that kind of idea of what might be held out there in the ether and why people got infected?
Yeah, and so there was a lot of, I mean, I think Patrick really understood quite a lot about why he thought that disease and infection was so bad in Haworth. And he campaigned for a really long time for there to be a government health inspector sent to Haworth to sort of get to the bottom of it. And eventually a gentleman called Charles Babbage came out and surveyed the village and the surroundings. What he found out was that the water that the villagers drank was flowing off the top of the hills through the graveyard and down in the central drain down Main Street to the well where people got their water from. So people were basically drinking corpse juice and sewerage, which is a huge contribution to so much disease in the village. And eventually, thanks to Patrick, there were 3 reservoirs built around the village, which massively improved the quality of life there for people. It's pretty gross. And the other thing they had to do was, I don't know if you've seen photos of the graveyard around the parsonage, but there's a lot of tabletop gravestones and they were laid directly onto the ground. So that meant that when the deceased people were putrefying, there was nowhere for the moisture to go, and it was all contained within the ground. So they had to raise up the gravestones and they had to plant a lot of trees to suck it all up. And that's your delight day.
Thank you. It's great timing, lunchtime. But the thing about it is that it does give you fantastic background for all of these incredible stories. And I have to say that some of this sounds quite dark, but I think there's a lovely lightness of touch in these books. So I thoroughly recommend them. We will have to draw to a close shortly, but we are going to finish with the final instalment of the Cellar Game. And given the fact that we have worked through Tarka the Otter and Emily Bronte, so Emily's going into the kitchen to bake you some lovely cakes, and we have got Tarka going in the bedroom to be all cuddly and irresistible, not necessarily what otters do. They're not necessarily, you know, in our world, why not? So that leaves us with one last person. Who are you going to lock in your cellar and why?
Well, so you say cellar, I say spare bedroom. And
very secure spare bedroom.
A secure spare bedroom for the other love of my life, apart from my husband, if he's watching, is Keanu Reeves, and who I've loved for many years since Bill and Ted, since before many of his current fans were born, alarmingly. And I've loved him patiently. I've waited, 30 years for him to realize that I am the woman of his dreams. And he's got another girlfriend now. It's not me. So it's almost as if, Kate, that for some reason, just because I am a British novelist he's never heard of, who is married with 4 children, he's ignoring me.
It's not on.
It's not on.
He wouldn't ignore you if you were holding him in the cellar, would he?
No, exactly. So what I'm going to do, what I would do is I'd fit my cellar out very nicely, comfortable, and just pop him in there until he realizes that I am the woman for him, actually. And he could come and he could play with Tarka sometimes. I'd let Emily make him a cake. So he'd have a nice life. It'd be a nice life. And then once he eventually realizes that the life he wants isn't as a Hollywood star, but living in a strange time traveling house with me and Otter, then I'd let him out. That's it.
Because you'd all live very, very happily ever after.
Very, very happily ever after in this weird time-space continuum rift with an
I
otter.
don't think it can be much weirder than lockdown, to be fair.
No, true.
I mean, it does stimulate the imagination. Do you have any tips from you've got a big old household there. You've got lots and lots going on. Do you have any tips to offer as a final thought before we sign off?
I my tip is to just try and let go of the things that you normally stress about and just be quite relaxed about everything, because it doesn't matter. You know, what matters is keeping healthy and protecting your friends and family. And so it doesn't really matter if your garden's in a state or your kitchen's in a state, luckily. And you just wear leggings and things. Although, actually, since lockdown, because I'm doing a lot of this kind of thing, I'm putting on more makeup now than I did before. So
there is a weird aspect of that, isn't there? It's like kind of, but actually it's quite, you can really, you don't have to be particularly careful with the makeup, do you? You can actually really chuck it on, which is nice. And then a nice bright light as well. That's the other thing that really works.
Always good.
Top tip.
Yeah. So patient, chill out, enjoy spending time with your loved ones. But if you need a bit of time on your own, then find a room to lock yourself in.
That is an excellent tip. So I would like to thank Bella Ellis, who is the author of The Amazing Vanished Bride, and coming up, you've just been finishing The Diabolical Bones as well.
Bones is coming out in October, and I just want to say, please buy Kate's book, because it is really amazingly tense, scary, exciting. You won't be able to put it down. So buy Kate's book.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I was going to have my own plug for my own book shortly as well, but with an endorsement for somebody like Rowan, that's really fabulous. And I would also like to tell people that tomorrow we have got another fabulous writer for the Literary House Party. Guest 2 on my actual publication day of House Share is the amazing C.L. Taylor. She's going to be here at 1 o'clock to talk about the people that she would like to have in her cellar, and also the bedroom and the kitchen. So knowing what a sinister imagination Callie Taylor has, that is going to be one to watch. Definitely at 1 o'clock, and a few confessions too, hopefully. As Rowan said, if you would like to order or pre-order the House Share, it is available from all good online retailers, and also it's going to be in the Asda shop in the UK as well, so that's good news. One of the few places you can actually buy books at the moment, in the supermarkets. I can't wait to see Callie tomorrow, but in the meantime, well, thank you for being one of our house guests. It's been a real pleasure. Now I've got to work out how to shut things off.